Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Council's October 6, 2025 regular meeting. As you can see, our library director will be starting us off tonight, and you can see everyone's very interested in what you have to say tonight. But before we get to that, if everyone could please stand, I'm going to ask Councilman Underwood to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. First on our agenda, we do have a presentation, and I'd like to welcome the Library Director, Jennifer Smith, here. She's going to, we have a bit of a presentation regarding some of the changes that have been going on, so to speak, at the library. So if you want to come up to the podium, just hit the button in the lower middle part. Make sure the microphone's on. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. Good evening, counselors, and good evening, everyone. I'm Jen Smith, your library director, and I'm here just to give you, as mentioned, a couple updates about things that have been going on at the library. So first I'll start with a recap of our summer reading. We had a great summer at the Plainville Public Library, and I'm happy to report we had 509 total participants in our summer reading program, which is excellent. 332 of them were youth, which is a 31% increase over last summer, which is huge. And we had 177 adult participants, which is also a great number. This was our first summer offering an official adult summer reading program, so we were very pleased with those numbers and the response from the community. Also, I'm very proud of our library staff and all that has been accomplished. Everybody's worked really hard the last several months. So the state library asked each public library in Connecticut for both qualitative and quantitative data about summer reading. So part of this feedback consists of offering our library patrons the option to fill out a survey about their experience. And this pie chart was just one of the questions that's required. And it shows how people, whether or not they felt welcome at the library this summer. So if you can see the colors, we have blue and red identified in the pie chart there, and 77.8% of responders said they strongly agree with that statement, that they felt welcome at the library, and 22.2% says they also agree. So all of that was, again, great feedback and something that I'm very passionate about and want to make sure that's happening. So that was good to see. All right, so this year the summer reading theme was Level Up at Your Library, and it's a gaming theme, or was a gaming theme. So you can see the game board displayed on the top there. It was youth participants played a life-sized game board, and each time they read 20 minutes, they moved their unique game piece ahead on one space. So the kids had a ball with this, and this idea was developed by our youth services librarian. She did a great job thinking this out. And like I said, the kids just loved coming back into the library each time they read more and they were able to move along their game board. So it was a lot of fun. The bottom left is a little hard to see, but we had Mystic Aquarium come out to the library, and they brought a live touch tank full of live sea creatures. So kids got to actually touch crab, and they brought a blue lobster, I think, and a couple other fun creatures. This program was funded by a generous donation from UBI Federal Credit Union, so we are very grateful to them for making this possible. We also had a great showing at our Picture Books and Popsicles program. That's the middle one there. We try to have it outside if the weather permits. So we had, on average, about 40 to 45 attendees come weekly for that popular program. And the bottom right shows a local Plainville author, Cindy Rodriguez, and she spoke about her path to becoming an author. Participants received signed copies of her 2 books, Three Pockets Full is her award-winning picture book. It's available in both English and Spanish. And she was selected to represent Connecticut at the National Book Festival last year. So that was a big accomplishment for her. And her latest middle grade novel, Lola Ray's Is Not So Worried, received a Kirkus starred reviewed. And we have both books available, of course, to check out at the library as well. Yes, can you hear me, Joanne? Yes.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. All right. Adult participants also got to play along this summer with the Level Up theme, and they played Libraryopoly and had a chance to mark off sections of their game board as they borrowed a museum pass or read a book recommended by a friend. Each section of the game board had a different challenge. And that was also a lot of fun for anyone who joined us on the adult side. We had a local author, Todd Jones, pictured top left. He recently published a new book all about Plainville and spoke about the writing process, the town history, and he also signed copies of his book, so it was nice to have him back in the area. Our cookbook club is also a very popular ongoing adult program that's pictured on the bottom left there. Participants usually make a dish from the selected monthly cookbooks and share about their cooking and or baking adventures. And our grand prize summer reading winner, Sundee, is pictured there with her prize. And Sundee completed the entire Libraryopoly game board, so she was very excited to be our grand prize winner. All right, these are just a couple quotes, direct quotes from our survey and feedback. I can just read them quickly. These were anonymous, just anybody who filled this out. But one said, "We were really impressed with the summer program and how much was offered this summer. The library is a wonderful resource for children to get out of the house, be busy, and learn something new. Thank you to the wonderful staff." The adult summer reading program was tops. It inspired me to take up reading different kinds of books that I normally would never consider, and it helped me rekindle my love of reading. Keep that program going strong. And finally, thank you to the library staff for going above and beyond and making Plainville a great place to live. So all in all, it was a great summer at the Plainville Library. All right, I'm going to switch gears a little bit now and talk about our strategic plan and where we stand with some of those goals. Basically, we're working on this big goal, which is a multi-phase project of creating flexible spaces to accommodate quiet study or group projects, a dedicated teen space, and a maker space. So we're working on the first section there right now, so I can share with you what we're doing about our quiet study spaces and meeting room spaces. So the phase one of this part of the project was bringing in 2 quiet study pods. These distraction-free spaces are sustainably built for individual study, and the new pods provide our community with a quieter, private space that can be used for a variety of reasons, such as attending virtual classes, online job interviews, telehealth calls, and more. So they are being used and enjoyed by our patrons. We're also in the process of completing a new meeting room space on the adult floor. And these series of pictures that you'll see of this new room show the different stages of the construction over the last several weeks. And that's coming along really well as well. Kind of the finishing touches here with painted walls, the windows in, the doors, furniture moved in. And I also wanted to mention Chad and Jim from our building and grounds team helped create shelving from extra material that we had in storage. So that was great because that will also help expand our adult fiction collection. So we're excited about that. And we're also looking into housing. In this previous slide, you can see some shelving on the left of the room behind the table there. We're hoping to be able to house some of our historical collection in the new meeting room. So we're looking into that to see if that's possible. But we hope so. And there are a lot of behind the scenes moving parts to make all of this happen, as you, I'm sure, understand and know. But I wanted to just mention the Library Board of Trustees deserve a big thank you for approving these service updates, the pods, and the meeting room construction, along with providing the funding from the library endowments. And our building and grounds team also helped us move shelving around prior to the construction, and we couldn't have done it without them. A lot of our adult fiction collection had to be moved because we had to move existing shelving down so that we could make room to build this new room. So we really had to touch all of the books in our adult fiction section from A to about H. So it was a lot of moving parts. And then, of course, several library staff members also contributed to shifting these collections and keeping the project moving along. So it takes a team, and a lot of people have their hands in making this all possible. So thank you to everybody. And lastly, just a reminder, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and that's the best way to keep current and timely with what's happening at the library. And because there are so many people here tonight, I just want to say, whether you're a Plainville resident or not, if you go to your local public library to get your library card, you can then use it at any Connecticut library. So I encourage everyone to do that, and definitely stop in to say hello in Plainville.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And before we let Jennifer go, any comments or questions regarding what? And you don't, I hate to make you get up again, but like, what are some of the? Do you have like a 2, 3, 5 years out? Anything? What are some of the upcoming projects? Maybe not big ones, but what are you looking to do over the next couple of years?
Sure, that's a great question. So our current strategic plan is quite detailed, and this was just one of the goals that was outlined in that. That strategic plan was 2024 through 2027. Okay. So we still have several years of that, and this is just one tiny piece of that. So there are definitely other goals established, laid out in that. Our teens, we'd like to create a separate teen space, and that's one of our next, I would say, bigger projects that we're going to hope to move forward on.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions or comments? All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That completes our presentation for tonight. We do not have any public hearings scheduled for this evening, so we can move right to item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. And I believe there's a couple meetings to vote on tonight. Anyone?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Councilman Gettleman.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 15th, 2025 regular meeting and the September 22nd, 2025 special meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments, questions, changes?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I need to abstain from the September 15th approval.
Okay. We still have 5, right?
Should we do-
All right, any other? Yeah, should we can do it all at once, that's fine. Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, announcements and reports. Is there any announcements or reports? Councilwoman
Chair.
Moranti.
Yes, okay. I was able to attend the fall river cleanup sponsored by the Conservation Commission in the property adjacent to West Cemetery when you walk down close to the pond. And I think it was a great success. We there had a really enthusiastic group of volunteers, and thank you to the Conservation Commission for sponsoring that once again.
All right, thank you. Anyone else with the announcement or report?
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Gettleman.
on Sunday, September 28th, I attended the Connecticut State Firefighters 23rd Annual Memorial Service at the Connecticut Fire Academy in Windsor Locks. There were 5 fallen firefighters honored that day. Firefighter Ray Moreau was honored by being inducted into the Roll of Honor. His name has been engraved on the Fallen Firefighters Memorial, joining past Plainville inductees Herb Rewald, whose last call was December 22nd, 1943, and Dominic Machini, whose last call was May 28th, 1975. It was a beautiful, sombering service. If you ever get a chance, go up and take a look at the memorial. It's amazing. That's it.
All right, thank you, and thank you for sharing that. Anyone else with a announcement or report? All right, we can move on to item 5, appointments and resignations. Are there any appointments this evening?
Mr. Chair?
Councilwoman Moranti.
Motion to appoint Kylie Sepko, 18 Ashford Road, to the Conservation Commission for the unexpired term ending January 15th, 2026.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other appointments or resignations this evening? All right, we are completed with that. We can move over the Board of Ed liaison report and move right to item 7, report of the town attorney. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple items. I think one of them may be one of public interest, which is the Plan of Conservation and Development discussion. As you know, we have prepared a draft resolution for the council's consideration tonight regarding the some amendments that were made to the Plan of Conservation and Development. And so these had originally come before the council for 3 separate applications. Over the course of 3 days, I went through the dates in the resolution, but it was October 7th, October 22nd, and November 18th to 24. And the primary purpose of the applications was to add land or acreage to the Plan of Conservation and Development that would qualify for a PDD, which is a Planned Development District, which is an overlay district, which would be something that the different property owners could then in the future apply for through planning and zoning. So the way that the statutory scheme works is the applications come before the council then reports to planning and zoning what its opinion is of the applications, and it's really very limited. The votes are limited to accepting or commenting or rejecting, but the council just simply makes that recommendation, and then planning and zoning considers that and still votes. So those applications came before the council, and as I said, the basic or the real import of the applications was to add land to each one of those pieces of property owned by the applicants so they would qualify for the PDD designation under the Plan of Conservation and Development. Somehow, and the council did, at the time, one of the applications had to do with the old high school. And that actually was very much publicized and discussed. And at the time, what we were looking at and what we were researching was, did the council have any authority besides making a recommendation with regard to that? And we had decided that the council did not, and had made actually comments to the planning and zoning regarding the preservation of the high school, et cetera, as being a policy goal. So when the council voted, the actual votes, the 3 votes, just were to add land to those, to the POCD, so it would qualify for PDD treatment for the overlay in the future. In that process, there were maps there was a map that went with the section of the Plan of Conservation and Development that discussed the area where those parcels were that they were adding the land. And through the process, the maps were also amended. And I really, for coming before the council, that was not an issue that was properly presented in my view. Those applications totally had to do with adding land that would qualify for the PDD treatment in the future. There was no discussion with regard to changing the map or the notations with the map. And when the council voted and made its recommendations to planning and zoning, that effect was not to change anything. That effect was to let it go to planning and zoning and let planning and zoning know what the council's view of these changes were. There was then another public hearing in front of planning and zoning, which is a separate statutory agency, and which we did not attend, and we would not ordinarily ever attend unless we were invited to. And at that hearing, those applications were approved, and the changes to the map were also approved. And from my review, I did not see that the issue was properly presented at planning and zoning with regard to notice or debate. So I don't think that the issue was properly presented. We then, after this occurred, there were questions regarding the map many months later when people had then begun to take someone had taken a closer look, and there were questions. So we went back and we looked at the minutes, we looked at the submissions, and we interviewed town staff. And so as a result of doing that, it was our opinion that that the town's opinion, the town council's opinion, had not properly been presented to planning and zoning. That if the council had been properly apprised that one of the effects of one of these applications, because none of the applications directly tie into the map, but the effect of one of these applications, or cumulatively between the three of them, would be to change the map and the notation. And that certainly was never considered or discussed or debated. And if it had been, this resolution provides that the council would have taken a negative view. It would have commented not to make that change to the map. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to adopt a resolution now for the council to either through an application or a request for reconsideration for planning and zoning to go back, take a look at this, and understand that the proper input from the council would have been adding the land, those comments were fine, what was transmitted, but that with regard to changing the map and the notations, that it would have been negative, that the council would have not recommended that. And I believe that it would be appropriate for planning and zoning to know what the council's position would have been. I believe that if we go and we file another application, as I've asked, if this resolution is successful, that would be the appropriate time to have a hearing at that time and to actually have an informed debate with regard to the map and the approach, the proper approach to be taken. I don't believe that the proper process was followed. And right now, our effort is to have the town council try to remedy that, even though you did not vote to do that. Planning and zoning did. And so, in my view, this is an opportunity to correct the record, and it's also a procedural avenue in order to go back before planning and zoning so that a proper debate can be had and a proper vote can be had. And it may well be that after all of that is done, that they decide to keep the change and they decide to keep the different notation. But I think it should be done with proper notice and proper debate. And that was the purpose of filing the resolution. That's why we recommended this. And I know that it is a relatively a long-winded explanation, but apparently this is something that nobody really noticed, because not only did it come to the council, it went to planning and zoning. I know there's a lot of interested people, and it went through that vote, and there was no appeal, there was nothing. And so I think that's because it wasn't properly presented or debated. And so we're trying to correct that.
All right.
Do you have any questions?
We do, and we're going to spend a lot of time on this tonight, I promise you. But do you mind reporting on your second item tonight?
Sure,
We'll
let me do that
because
before. Yeah, absolutely.
I have
So
a feeling we're going to talk about
the second item
land
was
conservation for a while.
all right. So the second item is, as you know, we had gotten a report regarding the operation of the fire department, and as a result of that, we had meetings with the fire department, the company, the officers, personnel. We had other departments come in. We had presentations made. We interviewed witnesses. We looked at a lot of material. And as a result of all of that, we have drafted a completely amended and restated ordinance, which we have presented tonight to the council. And it's really, really long. There's a tremendous amount of information. We are asking that it be put down for a public hearing on the 20th, so you have enough time to review this. We're going to be going and meeting with the fire company this Thursday night, because we understand the members are going to have some questions with regard to the overhaul of the way that the fire department is operated. The major changes that we have done, we really have emphasized training, incentives for training, and we've also streamlined the entire discipline and complaint process. And I think that, the subcommittee worked really hard. Councilor Underwood and Councilor Christopher and Councilor Gedman, we had a lot of meetings, and especially the Assistant Town Manager Ciroli. There was a lot of work, a lot of late getting emails from the Assistant Town Manager late in the evening at times to get all of this done. But there were a lot of moving parts, and I am very proud of the work that was done on this, and I hope that we've gotten a tremendous, this thing changed over and over and over again because we kept meeting with the fire department and the fire company, and, and we kept getting their feedback until we got something that we thought everybody could live with. Nothing's perfect, but we thought everybody could live with it. And so that's what the proposed ordinance has to do with regard to the fire company.
All right. First, any questions regarding the fire department ordinance? All right, let's go back to the Plan of Conservation and Development. I don't know, do we want to just open it up for questions? I know Councilwoman Moranti has several things she wants to say.
Well, I could have, I know that we had have discussed this. So, one of the things is that I know that the councilors are very interested in this topic. And so one of the things that we discovered when we were doing our review was that there were incorrect page references. So that if you wanted to try to compare the amendments to the prior, and you just went back to those pages, you were not going to get the right pages. And so that's something that my resolution does not address. However, we have discussed it with the administrative staff, and we're going to be going back and looking at the pagination and make sure that administratively that the pages match, and that going forward that we don't have that issue again. But that was definitely an issue, and I put the pages in the resolution too. I think it was page 63 of the amended. It was actually page 54 of the earlier version, and that had caused some issue. So I hope I didn't preempt you, Rosemary.
No,
but I wanted to add that too.
Yeah, that was, the confusion with the page numbers was certainly going to be a question, because I think that understandably created a lot of confusion for members of the public that were looking at the amended version of the POCD online.
And some
One of the things I would say
confused.
also, just because I want to be really clear about this, is that if you're looking at this and you have an application coming in, adding land to the different pieces that qualify for the PDD treatment under the POCD, when you're looking at the maps, you're anticipating, at least my anticipation was, all the maps are doing is changing the amount of land in each one of them. In other words, I am not going to go and measure that the acreage is right. That was something that I didn't, from what was presented, I didn't expect there would be a substantive change to the maps,
Okay.
other than the acreage.
Just a little clarification. I recall that there were two applications. One was for the three specific properties owned by the Tomaso, and the other was for, they were on Long Swamp and North Mountain Road, I believe. And then there was one for 74 East Street, the old high school. Now, what was the third?
No, those are the ones.
Okay,
Those are
so
the
was-
ones. There were three different dates. I apologize.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so there were two applications, just wanted to be correct on that. And yes, I was going to have the question on the pages, but just to make sure we're all, literally on the same page, the one that was referring to the northeast quadrant was supposed to be page 63, is that correct?
Page 63 was the page at the amended POCD. The prior page was 54, the earlier version. I don't have it specifically referencing the northeast quadrant.
Okay, I think it's.
Do I have it backwards?
Yeah, it's in reverse. Page 63 referred to, I think, is the one that was supposed to be amendment. I just want to make sure we were all clear on that, because that's sort of a real key to understanding and what happened in the amended online version is that it shows up as page 54.
54.
As page 54. And actually, there's no page 63 in the online amended version, and the original page 54 also has to be replaced, yeah, because that is missing now as well.
Mr. Chair, if I may add
Yeah,
an additional
please.
point of
Yeah.
clarification, just kind of adding to what, right now we're talking about the paginations, which was a clerical error in the planning
Correct.
department at the time when making the amendments in the planning document. I think residents and council members also noticed that there are two different versions of the POCD online.
Online, yeah.
That is because there is the POCD webpage, which was updated with the revised version that Vice Chairwoman Moranti is referring to, where there's the different pagination numbers that leave out page 63, because page 63 was misplaced and replacing page 54.
yeah.
The other location of a POCD document is on the planning and zoning webpage of the town website. And within the body of that webpage, there is a hyperlink referring to the plan of conservation and development, which brings you to the POCD document. It brings you to the original document that was adopted in 2019. When the revisions were adopted in December of 2024, this hyperlink was not updated. And so that's the reason for why on our website you can access two different versions. And as I digress slightly, this will be something that is corrected, obviously, once it's been brought to the public's attention. It's the reason it hasn't been corrected at this point. The other addition I'd like to add is that we are in the process of updating the website, and with that, we will have further training for staff so that documents like these live in one location and not multiple locations. So things like this hopefully don't happen again. But I hope that provides
That
further clarification.
Clear, and the fact that we are going to be taking care of that administratively is acceptable. And I should add, certainly kind of explains the confusion a little bit. Anyhow, there are two pages in the POCD that are titled Northeast Quadrant that look very similar at first glance. And one's in one chapter on residential, the other is in the chapter on commercial, and those are the ones that got switched, yeah. And so just to kind of add that as might be the reason why we had the issue to begin with.
Andy, was it the former planner that was changing the link, the information on the link for the planning and zoning website?
I would believe so. I can't say for certain, but it would be within that department's responsibility to
Okay.
update that. And the former planner at the time would have been the one, I would
Okay.
imagine, to make those changes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Just one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just,
No, keep
just one
going.
more, okay. Just for our town attorney, when you use the term subject map, are you referring to the map that would appear on the amended page of page 63?
I'm talking about the map that went from having the approach, that had the future approach.
Right.
And then it went to the map that actually had the zoning, what the actual zoning lines
Right,
were. And then it had different
The
notations.
proposed. And-
Right.
And now the proposed has become the amendment.
The proposed became the amendment, and the problem with that is that while the zoning lines are accurate, they're the right zoning lines,
Right.
that's the right map. That's not the purpose of the POCD. The purpose of the POCD is to show the approach for the future, what the policy is. And that was different, and the notations were different. And really, we did talk to staff, and we did do an investigation, so I would say that the approach that we've used is one to file an application and a request with planning and zoning to have them correct this from the point of view of having proper notice and a proper debate with regard to this. That is what our approach is. Now, we did not go and start, cross-examining and attempting to build a legal case where we'd go and try to file something in an adversarial way. That's not the approach that we're taking here, which, I think would be just a wasteful way to go about doing this. What we've done is, we've looked at it. We don't believe that the notice was proper. As far as the planning and zoning, letting the public know what was actually going to get voted on. And from looking at the minutes, it's clear they did not have the debate that you would expect to have this kind of a change be made on that map and the notation. You would expect there to have been a spirited debate. You would have expected there to have been something in the minutes that would tell you that they really considered this. So under those circumstances, I think they should go and they should go and consider it properly and decide if the old, if it's the 2019 or the 24, what did they really mean to do, but should be after a proper process, proper notice.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other
That's,
comments?
that's our position. That's my advice.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm the liaison for the planning and zoning as well, so I was there when they had the public hearing at planning and zoning, and no one spoke other than the town attorney for the applicant. It wasn't really clear what kind of changes were made. We were told what it was going to be, but what it turned into was a much bigger deal. And I think too, the information that was given to the town council at the time before we sent it over to planning and zoning, it wasn't fully explained to us what was happening, so.
And when you say town attorney, you mean a lawyer from town, not
Right,
the town
like,
attorney.
right,
All right, I just wanted to make that clear.
Well, the applicant's
all right.
attorney.
That's okay. That's what
Right.
I'm, okay, fine. Thank you.
All
Mr.
right,
Chair?
yes.
Sorry.
If planning and zoning decides to do nothing, we send this
I don't want to
resolution
actually, then we're going to be getting into talking about legal and what we might do, and I really would just, I don't really think that that's something that we need to address at this point, and I would think we want to wait and see, we don't want to do that.
Has CROG and OMP been notified of this, or
Yeah,
OPM?
a question came up, and if you need time to get the answer, that's fine, but I guess it's a requirement by state statute that Office of Policy and Management and CROG are notified of any potential changes or changes to the POCD. Do we know if that was done?
Yes.
I'm going to assume
That
it
was
was,
done.
but I would
Okay.
defer to the planner.
Those are for, we got comments back.
Okay,
Good.
all right.
And they saw the changes and and didn't have an issue with them?
If I may.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evidence of,
I know you weren't here, Evan.
I think, again, it's to the point that, like the council, P and Z, the CROG and OPM, they weren't given information that singled out the fact that there was a change. There was no opportunity for the council to have debate on this, nor was there transmitted to them with a long summary that says, oh, by the way, we're changing the lines to this plan. It was just submitted, the packet that you got, that's the packet that they got
Everybody
as
got.
well, with a focus on the PDD, emphasis, but not that, what was missing here in our discussion that we all missed, it was there was no debate about, it wasn't called out to say, oh, when you look at these maps, you'll notice the line has changed. There was no opportunity for that debate. That did not happen.
But would that have come through this PDD amendment?
Yeah.
Like 'cause when we talked about it first, I didn't think this northwest section of this northeast quadrant was necessarily something that would be altered by any decision the P and Z made. You know, I thought we were talking about two pieces of property, you know, on the New Britain side, you know, it was Tomaso, it you know, had nothing to do with Tilcon or,
Right.
you know, and so that's what
no
struck me is when I saw a different map, I'm like, I didn't think we
Right.
never talked about
No,
that.
you didn't, because there was no reason to. I mean, it wasn't,
Is that,
it- outside of the planner, it was not something we were privy to.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, if I could, there was
It was there,
no
it was there
reason
in
for that.
front of us,
Yeah.
right?
right.
In front of
I-
us in the documents, but not, hey, let's pause, let's talk about this. Right?
Okay.
That is what I think the town attorney is talking about in terms of may altered the council's decision or their.
No,
vote.
certainly, yes.
Potentially.
Yes. I would like a second crack, knowing what we know now, yes. I
Yeah.
would like a second chance to make a recommendation or no recommendation.
Reconsideration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, you know, I believe the town attorney also said something about noticing the upcoming public hearing or that on P and Z. Did you say there was an issue with proper notice? as
In my
well?
view, when people went to that planning and zoning hearing, they weren't notified that there were gonna be a potential change to the map or to the notations.
Right, it was just
The only thing that was the only thing that was in the narratives was we're gonna add land that would qualify for PDD.
you're right.
And we have to do that. We have to go to POCD because these are significant pieces of land. So ordinarily, you can qualify for PDD without doing that. But because these pieces were in the POCD as being seen to be significant pieces, and part of that's just because of rule of thumb that the town has on pieces over 2 acres, I think it was. And I'm just going from memory now. But because of that, they had to come in so they could add it in so it would qualify for PDD. There'd be no reason, the only reason you change the map is because you put more land in there. There's no other reason to change the map. I mean, when you look at it, you would not, when I looked at the two maps, you'd have to take a magnifying glass and compare the two of them to figure out what they were doing, given what the packet was that we received.
Right, yeah, so now, so they did notice the public hearing, but did not provide the information, the full information.
Right, in my opinion, when I looked at the minutes, I didn't see a recording or actually a transcription, but just the minutes, there was no debate with regard to this. This would be something that would have been talked about. I think it's reasonable to conclude that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other comments, questions?
My only question is, once we resolve this, what are we doing to make sure this never happens again?
Yeah,
Perfect, thank you.
yeah, that's a good question. And we've learned a lot in terms of not only just, there's a few administrative things that we've got to take care of as well, but it's in the due diligence of the applicant process and the file. And we'll do our best to use this as a learning moment to prepare and what goes into preparation.
And is there any way, like, I don't know if we have it now or
I-
with the new website, potentially, you know, tracking who's in there making changes or who's accessing different files and when they do it and,
Well, yeah, I think that's sort of a secondary issue to the question, and I'm sure Andy can answer that going forward, right? But to depend, again, we're not perfect. We're gonna make mistakes, but like this process right now that we're going through is an opportunity to correct the record, right? To go through, to review, make sure that we get it right. And I hope that, yes, going forward, we learn and we eliminate mistakes like that.
And we need to make this one right.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
between the map and the page number things, which I said, understandably, created a lot of confusion for members of the public when they went to, and were conscientious enough to try to check two versions, the amended and the original, and were totally, confused by what they saw, or, and we just can't have that, yeah.
all right. Are there any questions specific to the resolution? Any questions that haven't been answered yet? I know we've had a couple questions and comments. Is there any other clarification anyone needs? All right, any other comments or questions? No, you're good?
I have been looking, I mean, I think that Counselor Gettleman's question is a good one. I think it's really difficult, though, because I've been thinking about, how we did this and how we reviewed this. And even as I thought about my own review of this, I would really have had no reason to check those two maps, because the manuscripted part, the written part, had nothing to do whatsoever with changing that. It was completely just adding land, and I thought that they could draw that in. I wouldn't have to look at that. I never would. I don't do that. So, that's really, it's been driving me crazy. And then, the manager knows, we've had a couple discussions about this, that I was really aggravated that I missed it. But I don't know that I could have done, I've been doing this a long time, and I don't know that I could have done anything different myself.
All right. Any comments?
Yeah, just, again, to Morris's point, thinking back to it, how do we miss this? And I think, from my perspective, two applications come in at the same time. Back to Ben's point, that's another thing we won't do. We won't be doing, two PDDs at the same time, because I believe, part of what the misstep is that we were emotionally focused on the demolition or potential demolition of a high school. That our focus was, geez, what do we do about that? And over on the other one, it was three parcels of land. Okay. Maybe it's too oversimplified. That's just another element to, again, we don't do that again. We don't bring two, we focus on what is before. It's not that we can't focus on two things at one time, we can, but it was emotionally charged. That's the way I recall it. Maybe that's wrong, but that's the way I recall it.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? All right, now, if there's any other questions, we do have public comments coming up. You certainly are allowed to ask your questions. I think going forward, obviously a lot of people have been involved in discussing this. I know for some of you it's taken way too long to get to this point, but one of the things that we've talked about is making sure we do this correctly this time, and I want to take correct over quickness. And we have Evan who has had to learn how to sprint really quick with us and pick up this after he started. So I want to thank Evan for doing your best to keep up with us. But I think what you're hearing is clearly this was something unrelated to Tilcon, unrelated to any quarry. I think the good thing is we're going to end up in a good place once we get this resolved. Again, it is a planning and zoning decision. We can make a recommendation. We most likely will make a recommendation. I don't want to speak for every council member, but we will be making a recommendation with this resolution. And hopefully they have the right information, can make an informed decision. There can be a public hearing, some debate, as the town attorney alluded to. And we're going to be paying attention. And, again, anyone who has a question or a comment is under public comment. You're welcome to make it. But, I do want to thank everyone for being here and so engaged, because honestly, sometimes when some of these things happen, the best way to fix it is to have the public in your face calling you every other day, asking why. No, and I always welcome that. And I think most of, everybody up here, again, don't want to speak for everyone, but, we're not perfect. And I think in the heart of hearts, none of this was done on purpose. There wasn't anything nefarious trying to be done. But the good thing is we know what's going on. And I think we have a decent handle now on page numbers and pages that were deleted and maps that were changed. So again, thank you. And again, any questions, you can come up under public comment. But I want to thank everyone for staying on top of this and keeping us our toes to the fire on this one. So thank you. Anything else you want to report tonight, Mr. Town Attorney?
I hope not.
We've only been talking for 40 minutes.
I don't want to report anything else. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate everybody's patience. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions for the town attorney? All right. We can now move to item 8, report of the town manager. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I have 4 items, 3 of which I will cover, and then I'll hand off to Andy for the number 4 happenings. Item number 1, commissioning agent services for the middle school Plainville renovation project. The town issued a request for RFQP in July 2025 for the purpose of soliciting commissioning agent services from qualified firms for the renovation project at the middle school. Commissioning services are required as one quality measure of the renovation of the building in order to ensure that the final building and its systems are designed, installed, and functioning as intended. The scope of the project was divided into 4 phases: bid and design, construction, acceptance, occupancy, and warranty. 3 firms responded to the RFQP, and all 3 were selected for an interview. The Capital Projects Building Committee, charged with overseeing the middle school project, recommends that the Town Council award the RFQP 2026-11 Commissioning Agent Services for MSP to BVH Integrated Services, Inc., a Salas O'Brien company of Bloomfield, Connecticut, in the amount of $136,320. There is an item under new business to award this item to BVH under new business. Item number 2 is the water pollution control facility boiler replacement. I'm happy to report that we did finish the final notes and determination on that, so I'll fill in that at the end of my notes here. But the town of Plainville requested sealed bids for contract 26-15 water pollution control facility boiler replacement. The work under this contract shall consist of the demolition of the existing boiler system, installation of a new boiler system, and controls according to specifications in the bid documents. The town estimated the project would cost approximately $300,000. Funding for this project has been set aside in the Capital Improvement Fund. The town received 3 responses, which have been finally now reviewed, and that the 2 lowest bidders were within $19,000 of each other. However, this has gone over the anticipated projected cost. The final winning bid was determined to be Perfect Temp of Plainville in the amount of $273,619.
373.
$373,619, yes. And so that is also an item under new business for your action tonight. And my third and final, before I hand off to Andy, is that I just wanted to note that municipal elections held on Tuesday, November 4th, presents a challenge to the members holding the Monday meeting. So in the past, it has just been the practice, if there's a consensus, to not hold that meeting, given the fact that everybody will be out campaigning. So if that's it, if there's a general consensus, we'll skip that meeting on the 3rd.
All right. Is that the general consensus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's a consensus.
Okay, I'm happy to answer any questions on items number 1 and 2 before I hand it over to Andy for happenings.
All right, any questions on item, just get back to the middle school real quick, like, project, can you just report, project's still on time, correct?
Yes,
Project is looking like it's coming in at or under budget. I know I had a couple phone calls over the last couple weeks, people asking if things were still going. I don't know if they saw something or read something, but
we're working diligently, meetings multiple times a week. And yeah, at this point, a lot of it is around this is a phased-in project that presents a lot of logistics, which is, pretty difficult to do, but we focused on that. We focused on getting these other commissioning agent projects in place. So yeah, we're on, at this point in time, there's still some work around the budget that we want to present at whenever we have the next meeting, but I'll certainly defer to Andy, who's done a lot of work on this, and is getting his PhD in middle school renovations.
Yeah, waiting for my big dissertation.
yeah.
I'll just add a couple more comments. So we just wrapped up the design development phase. Concluding that is a updated cost estimate of the project. So that has been completed. Staff is still working through the cost estimate, but it looks good. We are on budget for where we are for the project, which is good news. We are still digesting that, trying to understand exactly what the major cost drivers are, where we have to fill in some gray areas as we go through further design, as we move to the next phase, which is construction documents. The Capital Projects Building Committee will receive a presentation on the estimates at an upcoming meeting, either this month or early next month. We are working with our architects and the construction manager on that. With the commissioning agent on board, that is adding kind of the third member of our team, the architects being KBA, the construction manager being Downs, and then the proposed commissioning agent being BVH. So that's really good. This is a good time to get a commissioning agent on board. We are looking to go out to bid for the project in spring of 2026, do some preliminary work, building out some areas of the middle school for swing space in mid to late spring, and then moving on to full construction in the summer of 2026.
All right, thank you.
We'll provide certainly more updates as they're available, but if there's any questions, just let the town manager or myself know.
And just also the White Oak project. I know we've been waiting for the state to give some approvals. Are we still there?
Yeah, waiting for DEEP to respond, but I think,
I know we were optimistically hoping by September we would have heard from them. Obviously, that hasn't
Yeah.
happened.
I think we have some initial comments that have come back, and that's going to be under review, and I think Cal has got that moving forward. So what I can do is make a note to bring you up to speed on that at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone, any questions or comments for the town manager? All right, time for happenings.
All right, who's ready for happenings? All right, I got a couple happenings to share with the council tonight. The 10th Annual Plainville Pumpkin Fest will be on Saturday, October 18th from 4 to 8 p.m. This is an outdoor downtown festival, and it's filled with activities for people of all ages, including live music, a kids' costume parade, kids' games, bounce houses, a magician, and a pretty spooky haunted house at the Masonic Temple. There will be over 50 local vendors and food trucks and downtown restaurants, along with shops and other vendors that'll line the streets. And they'll be offering crafts and gifts, food, and desserts. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit plainvillepumpkinfest.org, and we'll also be sharing some information on social media. It's a great event, and looking forward to being part of it this year. Fall bulk pickup started on September 8th and is scheduled to end on October 27th. Plainville has an on-demand policy for the collection of bulk pickup, so residents who currently have curbside waste and recycling collection are eligible to receive one bulk pickup per year, free of charge for acceptable large items that do not fit within the normal waste collection. You can visit the Town of Plainville's website at www.plainvillect.com for a complete list of acceptable bulk items and instructions on how to request a pickup, which essentially is by calling CWPM. From the town clerk's office, a couple announcements. Absentee ballots are now available for the November election. Residents in need of voting by absentee ballot can contact the town clerk's office at 860-793-0221, extension 8751, or you can go to the town website for additional information at www.plainvillect.com. Early voting is going to begin on Monday, October 20th and go through Sunday, November 2nd. Eligible Plainville voters will have the option to vote early at the Municipal Center in room 201, located on the middle level floor. For more information regarding early voting, you could contact the Registrar of Voters office at 860-793-0221, extension 8761. And just as a point of a note, the 2025 election FAQs, there's a series of information that staff have put together regarding the upcoming municipal election. That has been posted to the website on the homepage under news and announcements, and then also on social media. We'll continue to share that out. So anything from a sample ballot to information on early voting or absentee ballots, polling locations and how to register to vote, that's all included in the FAQ sheet and graphics. So take a look at that on our website and on social media for more information, or you can talk to our town clerk after the meeting tonight. I'm sure she'd be happy to chat about elections. All right. Leaf collection will begin during the week of October 27th and go until December 6th, weather permitting, of course. Residents must rake their leaves to the curb, not on the street, as early as possible without blocking sidewalks or walkways. Grass clippings, sticks, and stones will not be collected. Bagged leaves will also not be collected at curbside, but residents can bring them to the transfer station on Granger Lane on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. or starting on October 27th. Residents can bring bagged leaves to the transfer station Monday through Thursday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Efforts will be made to keep residents informed as to the progress of leaf collection this year, so we'll be trying to do some additional updates on social media so folks know when the crew will be in their neighborhoods. And finally, from the Senior Center, and for all information on Senior Center programs, you can call the Senior Center at 860-747-5728. All programs are free and open to the public unless otherwise indicated. The coloring group will be meeting on Friday, October 10th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can take a break and enjoy some peaceful time with coloring books and colored pencils. Those items will be provided, and this event, takes place every Friday. The Technology Tuesday is on Tuesday, October 14th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you're having tech issues, a Plainville Public Library staff member will be available to assist. You can call the Senior Center to schedule an appointment. And finally, Caregiving Connections on Tuesday, October 14th at 10 a.m. You can connect with fellow caregivers in a supportive space where you can share experiences, challenges, and encouragement. And that is all I have today for happenings.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any comments or questions under the town manager's report, happenings? All right, thank you very much. We can move now to item 9, public comments. At this point in the meeting, anyone who wishes to address the council may do so. Please step to the podium, give your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments. And just make sure you hit the button on the bottom there so it's on. Thank you.
Teresa Harper, 245 Farmington Avenue.
Is your microphone on?
I think so.
Yes, it's,
I'm going to be really quick. I just wanted to, I was here back in April asking about the sidewalks at
right?
Farmington
Yeah.
Avenue.
Yes.
And I am very, very, very happy to report that today they finished the job and they are beautiful. And we are so happy, and thank you very much to Andy, Andy, and to John and somebody named Ryan, who I'm not even sure who he is, but it doesn't matter. They're beautiful. Thank you very much. We also got the Farmington Avenue was paved this summer by DOT. So we are looking really good. Thank you, and everybody have a great night.
thank you. See, you go out on a high note. That's right. That's the way to do it, what she just did. And just a reminder, you're going to hear, once your time starts, you're going to hear a ring. The first ring means you have about 30 seconds left in your 3 minutes. The second ring means time has run out. Yes, go ahead, ma'am. I saw you had your hand up.
Now, there's multiple things here. Wendy Irving, 9 Weatherstone Ridge Road. Okay, so back to the
POCD.
The
Yep.
POCD and all of these things, okay? First of all, I'm gonna ask if we can make copies of the plan available to the public, because it's 100 pages. And, to read the plan and go through it, I got to page 35 and fell asleep. So, it's like, and I didn't print a copy of it, it's 100 pages. So it might be a good thing if people knew that the plan was there, because I don't believe the citizens of Plainville know about it. And I think if we have hard copies available so that people can kind of go through it and read it, and they can understand it better, you'd probably get more feedback about it, because I really do think that, it needs to be updated, because things have changed since 2019 in terms of our environment, our financial environment, our economical environment, our social environment. So that's my first comment.
Okay.
Okay? Communication needs to be improved with the planning and zoning. I'm talking about then and time, not as much now, but we still need to find a way to tell people what's going on in this town. I've had that conversation. The answer I always get back is, well, shouldn't people be looking for it? Well, I'm not sure people know what they're looking for when I mean, who would know that this occurred, all right? And a special meeting came up, and a lot of people don't even understand what it is. There has to be a better way to tell people that these meetings, these 12 committees or whatever it is we have, with all these agendas that you're not sure what they are, is communicated out to the people in Plainville, because you say people don't come, but a lot of times I don't think they know what's going on. I know that I've had conversations about many things with people since I've been attending that they're not aware of. So I'm just emphasizing this. You want people to be involved, we've got to find a way to tell them, okay? Going back to the zoning and the zoning planning, the planning and zoning committee, I also have a caution with things that occur there with the zoning board of appeals overriding or taking charge and doing approvals on items that may not necessarily have hit the planning and zoning. I'm not really clear about the requirements of one versus the other, but it does seem that the zoning board of approval has like this over agenda where they could come in and like make approvals for things that aren't necessarily went through the whole other planning and zoning. So that's a caution there, again, when we're talking about looking at this process. And then I had a question about, does there need to be a review of any other planning and zoning items that had occurred over the last few years that may not have necessarily been explained as well and got through the process that people may not be aware of? So that's kind of my questions with this.
All right, thank you. All right, who wants to be next? Mr. Kislik.
John Kislik, 65 Forestville Avenue. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Not going to speak on Tomaso issue. There's enough of people here. But as far as the people that Metacomet area that are opposed to expanding quarry operations, I'm with them 100%. I would not like to see the ridge line changed, and that's probably going to be in the works pretty soon. But the other thing that I have, your commissioning agent for the middle school project, I've been in favor of that from day one. I was on the capital projects for the high school, and we had a lot of mess ups that probably could have been saved. Saved us a lot of money, and probably this person can probably get heads up that actually will save us money, plus bring us a better project. There were so many things that were messed up. Now, the other thing I have, you have on the agenda, you want to mail out explanatory text for the charter revision question. I don't understand why you want to go through the cost of sending that out to all the residents. The explanatory text is almost identical to the question. It's like redundant.
I would hope it is identical to what the question is.
Yeah, so why would you send that out? And if you're gonna spend the money to do that, you should send out the whole ballot then, so the people know who they're voting for, and, you know, not just a question. You know, usually when you have something like this, it's if we're gonna expend a lot of money, if you're gonna, like we renovate the high school or the middle school, we're gonna tell what we're gonna do to actually do. This is not explain anything that we're gonna do that's a cost or anything. It doesn't make sense. I wish this council would just not spend the money to send it out. Everybody who goes to vote sees that question. It can't be spelled out any clearer, and I'd just like to see us, you know, save the money. You know.
Okay.
And that's basically about it tonight. I'll keep it short, so because you have a lot of people.
Well, and I will just say the explanatory text, I mean, it is more than common for the town to send out explanatory text for any referendum question.
But
So this is certainly not out of the ordinary.
Yeah, but this is not a referendum question. This is a charter change.
Right.
And that's where I find it
But
difficult.
it is a referendum question. I mean,
Technically,
we might not agree on how to do this, but it is a referendum question.
how much money is it going to cost us to send this out to every town
Do we
resident?
have that number?
You know?
We can get it for you.
Yeah, well, that's all right. It's just a point. I don't think we should do it. I don't think it's necessary. The question is explained good enough on the ballot. my opinion.
Well, and just, my opinion, I had a lot of people after 2023 who came up to me and said, I didn't know there was anything, I didn't know about these referendum questions. I think we had 4 actually on 2023. And, I think letting people know there is going to be a referendum question on the ballot, I think just helps inform them.
Well, I can bet that there's a lot of people in this town don't even know we're going to have an election for the town council.
Well, seeing we get 35% turnout, yes, you're right. I would agree with you. But, you can't make people vote. I mean, it's the first Tuesday of November, or first Tuesday after the first Monday of November. I mean, you either choose to vote or you choose not to. You can't really make people get out there. It's like the budget vote. It's the last Tuesday of April every year. It's the same thing.
Can you let Joanne talk so we can leave?
Yeah? Yeah, what do I get in return, John? Sounds like you're asking for a favor. Come on, yeah, Joanne.
Oh, go ahead.
You remember the last time Joanne was here, I walked her away from the podium, so I owe it to her to bring her back.
Well,
Is this on?
it's on, Joanne. Welcome.
I can't see and I can't hear hardly anymore, so.
Well, I'm sure you'll
Give it
still
to
get your
yourself.
message across, I'm sure.
And try to keep my hands off this microphone. Anyway, bear with me. I have a lot to remember. And Chris, I think I'm going to pick on you just a little because
You know what? I would expect nothing less.
5 years ago, I told you we had a crisis at the border.
Yes, you
went
did. I
nuts on
remember
me.
that.
You said, "Oh no."
I didn't say anything.
Yes, you.
No, I did not.
And so anyway, we got the big guy is in office now, and he's cleaning up the mess, and he's reestablishing law and order. So we got things happening.
You had to wait 5 years
Anyway,
to tell me
that's
that?
why I'm worried about the trail. I don't really want the trail in this town to go through this town. We don't need the widening of the, taking away space off the streets, and it's going to be expensive for the taxpayer. And so, what else? I got a lot to remember, and so bear with me. And I think the town should have maybe the education, the schools should have a chapter for the turning point. I think that's very important. And I would hope that everybody in town who's taking good care of their animals, every chance I get, I want to promote rescue a kitty or a dog and take good care of them. They'll love you to death. Anyway, tonight, I was supposed to go first. We had a little skit. Anyway, for all you overburdened...
I'm willing to stay after the meeting if you are.
Wait a minute now. Let me
try
remember
again.
this. For all you overburdened, high tax-paying citizens out there, we have a new sheriff in town. And he's running for council. And he's back in the saddle again. Out where a friend is a friend. Where the longhorn cattle feed on the lowly gypsum weed. Back in the saddle again. Riding the range once more. Toting his
This
old
would be the best
44.
public comment I've ever
Where
heard
he's
in my 28 years.
where he sleeps out every night, and the only law is right. Back in the saddle again. Yahoo!
It's hard to follow that one.
Thank you, Joanne. Actually, Sandy, you want to go first? Georgia, you're next. Did you have to practice that before, Joanne, or you just knew it? That's pretty good.
Good evening, members of the council. I'd like to address the charter requirement that the town manager must reside within the limits of Plainville.
And just your name and address before. That's
I
all
was
right.
so entertained, I got
No,
lost.
I know. It's easy to get distracted
I'm
at these
sorry.
meetings. It is.
Sandra Hergout, 148 Trumbull Avenue. While I fully respect the intent of this provision when it was originally adopted in the 1950s, in today's environment has become a barrier to attracting and retaining the strongest candidates for this critical leadership position. By way of context, I was a member of the Charter Revision Commission, and I also bring over 30 years of experience in executive human resource leadership. And throughout my career, I have worked with organizations on recruitment, retention, workforce strategy, and from that vantage point, I can say with confidence that the residency restrictions significantly limit the applicant pools, increase turnover risk, and drive up recruitment and onboarding costs unnecessarily. Plainville competes with many surrounding communities for top municipal leadership talent. By limiting our applicant pool only to those willing or able to move into town, we are unnecessarily reducing our chances of securing the most qualified candidates. This requirement will contribute to turnover challenges and higher recruitment costs when candidates decline to pursue the role due to the residency mandate. Every time we need to restart a town manager search, the town incurs significant costs in advertising, recruitment, and transition. Just as importantly, turnover disrupts continuity of leadership, delays key projects, and impacts staff morale. Eliminating the residency requirement will give us a wider and stronger candidate pool, which in turn improves our ability to retain a long-term effective town manager. Currently, no other department head or leadership position in Plainville is required to live within town limits. Police and fire chiefs, school leadership, etc., may live outside of town while still serving effectively and loyally. Holding only the town manager to this residency rule creates an inconsistency that does not reflect modern employment practices. When the residency rule was created, being physically nearby was the only way to ensure a town manager could be reached in an emergency. Today, technology bridges that gap. With secure mobile phones, verbal meeting platforms, and 24/7 connectivity, a town manager can be contacted instantly and can respond quickly from any location. Remote access to town systems and ability to mobilize staff in real time ensures that living outside of the town lines does not diminish the responsiveness or accountability. The Charter Revision Commission has recognized these realities and recommend the voters approve removal of this requirement. I strongly encourage residents to support this change so Plainville can continue to retain the best possible leader for our community. Thank you for considering this important issue, and I invite all residents to participate in the discussion and vote in favor of updating the charter to remove the residency restriction.
Thank you. Georgia, she was the next one. Dan, you'll be next. You'll be next.
Good evening. Before anything else, I want to thank the Town Council and State Representative Martinez for diving into this issue the moment we brought it to your concern back in May.
And just could I name and address, please?
Georgia Bedell, 28 Pequot Road.
But not everybody.
We got to restart because now I just took time. Your willingness to take the residents of Plainville seriously, to investigate what was uncovered, and to demand answers truly means more than you know. That said, what brings us here tonight should have never happened. The Plan of Conservation and Development, a document that shapes the future of our town, was altered and amended without the knowledge or consent of Plainville citizens. These weren't minor edits or technical updates. The original 2019 POCD section for the Northeast Quadrant focuses on protecting open space, limiting residential density, and safeguarding the Metacomet ridgeline and wetlands. But the 2024 version quietly added later, introducing language promoting quarry expansion, mixed-use development, and removal of open space protection. Bear in mind, there was nothing in those two applications that were presented today that would have warranted any changes to the size of a quarry. None. That is not a formatting update. That is complete shift in our town's values. It turns environmental protection into industrial opportunity, and it does so behind closed doors. And let's be honest, this was no mistake. The person or persons responsible for making these changes did so knowingly and deliberately, with full awareness of what they were doing. Whether they are still active members of the town administration or not, they must be held accountable. The residents of Plainville deserve nothing less. This kind of alteration erodes public trust and violates the principles of transparency that local government is built upon. The POCD belongs to the people, not developers and not special interests, not anyone who believes they can rewrite our future without public notice. Plainville residents have every right to feel disappointed and betrayed that something so fundamental could be changed in secret. We have worked too hard and fought too long to protect our open space and our aquifers, as well as our ridgelines. Let tonight stand as a turning point. The commitment that no changes to the town's guiding documents will ever again happen without public awareness, proper process, and full accountability. Thank you again for those who stood by the residents, who listened and chose transparency. One last thing, although I understand tonight's meeting has other priorities, which I can appreciate, I also believe the transparency shouldn't have to wait for a specific agenda item. During this public forum, I'd like to formally resubmit to record all the questions that residents have been asking for over 6 months. Questions that have been provided to the council on other occasions but still haven't been answered. These questions speak to the accountability, good governance, and public trust. I respectfully ask that these documents I'm going to give you be entered into the public record and remain open until full written responses are provided to all of us. Also, one last question. What now happens to anything that was approved adhering to this amendment, as any resolution must undo those changes to the quarry property to revert to the original 2019 recommendations of reducing the size of a quarry? Thank you.
All right, thank you. You don't mind, Mr. Town Attorney, just hand that to the town clerk. Are those copies?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll hand them out. Mr. Sizelsky.
Dan Siselski, 33 Overlook Drive. Good evening. I am here tonight to express my support for the Charter Revision Commission's proposal to remove the requirement that the town manager must be a resident of Plainville. Reasons to eliminate the residency requirement. One, consistency with other town positions. There are no other town employees, to my knowledge, who are required to live in Plainville. For example, the chief of police, officer of the fire department, superintendent of schools are not subject to a residency requirement. Additionally, we do not require our doctors, dentists, accountants, attorneys to reside in town. If this is not a requirement for these important roles, it should raise the question of why it should apply to the town manager. Second, in the past, qualified candidates for the town management position have withdrawn from consideration because of the residency requirement. This has resulted in a reduced pool of candidates for the town to choose from. Third, the employment and retention of the town manager should be based on their qualifications for the job and their performance, not on their place of residence. Some have argued that town managers should have skin in the game by living in the community. However, responsibilities and demands of the job itself are significant commitment and demonstration to the manager's dedication. Requiring someone to uproot themselves and their families and relocate to Plainville brings little benefit to the town while creating unnecessary hardship for the candidate. 6, Plainville is the third smallest town in Connecticut, covering less than 18 square miles with about 1,800 people per square mile. As a compact community, Plainville does not have a lot of variety of housings to choose from, making it difficult for someone coming in to find adequate housing. Imposing a residency requirement may inadvertently exclude highly skilled professionals who could bring valuable experience and fresh perspective to the role. It is important to prioritize competence and dedication to the welfare of Plainville over geographic constraints. Overall, the town council should not have a residency restriction when selecting or retaining a town manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fode. And then you're next. Oh, my mic is off, sorry. Usually the town clerk notices when I do that, I'm sorry.
Tom Fode, 15 Bradley Street. I was also on the Charter Revision Commission, and the only other thing I wanted to add, besides what had been said, was really, unfortunately, it seems like everything nowadays is actually politics. But this particular issue, I want to make sure that the people of the town know this is not politics. We happen to have a council that right now is 5 Democrats and 2 Republicans, but the first time this issue came up in recent memory and was an issue was brought up by a council that was 5 Republicans and 2 Democrats because we could not find an appropriate candidate for the manager without that council deciding to float the possibility that restriction would go away. As it turned out, they were more optimistic than they perhaps should have been at the time, though I do think a lot of that result of that last election, last ballot referendum and why we revisited it was, I don't think there was a great explanation at the time of, hey, this is what's being proposed, but here's why. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing is to get the person in who's right for the job. And with, as crazy as it is, modern highways, I work for the Department of Transportation. With modern highways, sorry to some of you, it's to be physically in this town is not a challenge given our location in any period of time. With modern technology, being virtually in this town, should something come up, is not a challenge for our current manager. And so to deny ourselves the opportunity to find the best candidate because of a rule that really is based on a different set of circumstances, technologically and just infrastructurally, it's not a word, seems foolish. So this is how we ended up at this point. I know some town residents will be upset that, hey, we voted on this. But it really, this is about making sure people know why we wanted this change 2 years ago, and that's why we're back to it. And it is not meant to be disrespectful to anyone who voted against it last time. And on the bright side, because this council sees fit to allow issues of import to the town to go to referendum, anybody who's against it will have the opportunity to vote and say no. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Kayla? Have a good week, Joanne.
Oh, thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed it.
Good. You're October 20th. We're back here, same time.
I'll have to make more appearances.
It's fine with me.
I'm just an old ham. That's all. I should have been a chorus girl, right?
Don't worry, we
When
haven't
I had
started
the
your time yet.
legs,
Don't
but
worry.
I don't have
It's okay.
any
I was gonna
legs.
just, keep going anyway.
Anyhow, good luck, everybody.
Good luck to you, Joanne.
Good night.
Good night.
That's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Kayla Billadu. I live at 5 Mel Road here in Plainville. I'm going to be speaking on the POCD issue. And first, I would just like to thank Town Council for listening to the community. We really appreciate your willingness to hear us and our concerns about the POCD. And we also appreciate your willingness to create a shared space where these concerns were able to be brought to light. And I would also like to thank Representative Rebecca Martinez for advocating for her constituents and ensuring that this issue was addressed with both transparency and urgency. And I would also like to recognize our incredible group of community members who put in way more hours than we can count to really dive into this issue and make sure that our community was getting what we deserve. I'm very proud of what we've been able to do together. Aside from the concerns I have about potential ecological impacts that amendments such as these could have on our community, I have larger concerns about what a situation like this really means for such a small town like Plainville. I'm going to highlight a specific section of the POCD that really stood out to me, and this is on page 5. This is the plan format of the POCD. Within the plan format, it clearly states that any of the red text within the document denotes an action step. Nowhere in the plan does it indicate how amendments were to be denoted. So just for context there. The amendments that we were speaking of tonight were also added in red text with no indication anywhere else except on those misnumbered pages that they were amendments. So my first time looking at the POCD was probably back in April. I had no idea what it was prior to then. And as just a layperson, citizen of Plainville, I reasonably assumed that anything in red text was an action step. So I thought nothing of an amendment being there or questioned that until I started looking into that further. That also calls into question and concern some of the integrity of people who had editing access to those documents. Why were the amendments added in a way that makes it look like it's an action step? It was very confusing to read. I consider myself pretty well versed in research, and I've spent a lot of time doing that, and it was very confusing to me. And it leads to additional questions along the lines of how do we trust people that are in these positions? How do we move forward and trust the people on our zoning commission to do the right thing and adhere to the POCD? It may have been oversight, but I think based on a lot of the evidence that we do have, that seems very unlikely. I would also like to call out that on page 19 of the POCD, there was a community survey results were identified as protecting natural resources and preserving open space as 2 of the 5 most important priorities in the POCD. And then on page 20, the board and commission survey results also indicated that in the next 10 to 20 years, the most challenging things that our community would face would be related to conservation and commission. And so that leads me to questions such as why are we ignoring not only what the community is saying, but also our own board and commission members? If our board and commissions are being surveyed and then these amendments are being added or there's changes being made, why? What does that say about the integrity, again, of what is happening? And it just calls a lot of things into question. I'm going to be very honest, I have a lot more questions after the conversation that was had tonight, and I know I only have 3 minutes, so I can provide you my questions. I don't want to go over my time, but
It's up to you. You can submit your questions. You can reach out to me or town manager's
Okay.
office. We can find time outside of a meeting.
Okay, yeah, I can send them to you via email. That's fine. I'll copy and paste. I would just like to close out by saying that I really hope that this situation serves as a lesson to the town. I hope it is very apparent now that the community is here to demand accountability and transparency while pushing back against this somewhat ingrained culture of complacency that has, I think, long plagued Plainville. And that's all I have. I will send you my additional questions via email.
All right. Is there anyone else? Yes. Pardon me?
Can she have Mike for a minute? No.
Yeah, typically we don't do that, but
We're all together, but she's the one that bring her, and she's a better
well,
spokesperson.
quite honestly, the way I'm thinking it, and I don't know haven't brought this up to anybody obviously yet, but get our your questions, it might be a good time to invite the neighbors and anyone who's interested, get the answers to those questions and actually have a meeting with the council to go over those questions and answers. But again, I literally haven't talked to anyone about it yet, so yeah, but we will handle this. Yeah. And we can add that as well. No, I think that's an appropriate way to handle this. So, yes, sir, you had your hand up. Yes.
Is it okay? This is my first time here. I'm going to speak a little bit ago. Ms. Bedell, I believe is her name, is the reason I'm here. Do you mind if I ask those questions during my 3 minutes? Do you have them written?
Oh, absolutely.
I guess, the thing about law.
Well, hold on. Why don't you? We haven't started your time yet, so just why don't you get to those?
I'm talking while I'm getting the paper, so she's getting it for me. I'll talk as I do.
Well, we just want to make sure we get all your comments on.
I'm just talking to my friend here. So the thing about law. They're going to rush this.
My only concern is my questions are very specific to the content I have here, and I need them asked and answered with content.
Can I just read exactly what's on the paper?
You can read them.
Where do you want me to start?
The bullet points are here. So I'm not expecting full answers to these questions as there's going to.
No, but if he wants to read them into the record, that's fine. That's.
I'm not an attorney, so I don't know, but I understand.
Me neither. So
there's the letter of the law and the intent of the law.
And
I think as people here, like if we all want to give our 3 minutes, there's no reason we can't do that.
Just remember your name and address, please.
Nick Bendis, 18 Testa Drive. Why was the feedback of both our community members and our board and commission members gathered in 2018 completely overlooked when these amendments were added to the POCD? You're not going to answer any questions.
Well, yeah, this isn't going to be the format to answer. I mean, this is going to take, like I said, why I think it's another meeting specifically to answer all these questions will probably be more beneficial.
We'll just get on the record then as part of the 3 minutes.
You're fine. Yes, you're welcome to do that.
What purpose does the POCD serve when the actions being taken go directly against the words written in it? Why was the 2019 draft language of consider reducing the quarry industrial zone to that area which has been quarried, except as may be needed for implementing an appropriate quarry closure plan, removed in capitalization from the final provision of the POCD when the recommendations by states and notes from strategy sessions all support reducing the quarry zone? What consideration is our zoning commission giving to information such as the Natural Diversity Area Database, which indicates the area in question is home to state and federally listed species when they are making amendments such as these? Last question. May this situation serve as a lesson to this town. We will continue to demand accountability and transparency while pushing back against the ingrained culture of complacency. And just speaking to the mic, for anyone like watching this later, there should be more people here from Plainville. The 35% voting rate is not your fault. You guys do more than I've ever done. This is my first meeting here. I have no right to criticize any of you, but just the letter of the law stuff that really does bother me, we should be able to give our 3 minutes up. That's really the only thing I wanted to say.
Okay.
Because I don't understand any of this.
All right, thank you. All right, yes. You're next.
Good evening, Harlan Bedell, 28 Pequot Road. Just want to say thank you to everybody that did their part and was involved with this and looking into this. Couple key things. I think I speak on behalf of everybody that we found it a huge coincidence that this happened right as Mark DeVoe retired. Another thing that the town manager brought up is there was so much stuff going on, and what a great opportunity. Oh, we're busy doing this. Let's slip in this, and nobody's going to see. And another thing is I was watching everybody's reaction when the town attorney speaked. He 100% sugarcoated this, minimizing it, watching his body language. He knows it's wrong. Yep. This is not just wrong, it's illegal. It's corruption, and if you read the Connecticut general statutes, this is illegal. So all the amendments that were illegally done, what's going to happen with that? Are they still going to go through, even though it was illegally done? This shouldn't be something that we'll look into it, we'll do it. This is illegal on the biggest level. It's corruption. And if you really look at everything that's done, something needs to be done about this. Not, let's have another meeting. You've had months and months and months and months. State Representative Martinez did her part going on. Get back to her, get back to her, get back to her. Everybody's looking into it. It's wrong. And we really need to look into what's going to happen now that this was illegally done. Are these going to be taken out? What's going to happen? These are answers we need. Not down the road, not another meeting, not, what's been going on. This has been happening for months. We should have answers by now on what illegally took place. And it's just, he represents our town, and it's just minimized and pushed under the rug. And, there's no raw facts. Oh, the applicants, oh, the maps. We all know what's taking place. Let's put it out there for the public to see. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm not sure, did I see another hand up?
Roger Plord, 81 Metacomet. I guess the only thing that I was in construction my whole life is when things are wrong, most times they do a cease and desist and things stop till you get it straightened out. So I know it's a major corporation, but big deal. Let them go back to their other side of the road. And I just think the right thing would be to do a cease and desist until this whole thing gets straightened out. So that's all.
All right, yes.
Alice Brown, 103 North Washington Street. Just want to say how disconcerting it is that the Planning and Zoning Commission pushed through the PDD and the POCD changes when clearly they didn't have all the information. And there was not enough notification. It's like they just snuck it through, and it feels corrupt. And there needs to be much more transparency and notification given to the town. The town website is very difficult to navigate. Now finding out that there are two versions of the POCD out there, when I was, I had a case against the Planning and Zoning for industrial development in my backyard. I was using the wrong POCD. It's disconcerting. I mean, you guys got to do a better job with your website. There should be more information anytime there's a POCD or a PDD change. Put it on the main page at least. Don't bury it in the Planning and Zoning page. So if you're going to be spending some money, let's improve the website and make it more user-friendly. And maybe add signage around town when there's something this important that is being discussed. Put more signage around town. Not everybody's going to go to the website. And thank you for your time and allowing me to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I see another hand? No? Yes. Roberta, you'll be next.
Michelle Chaput, 3 Sunrise Terrace. I'm speaking tonight about the town manager residency requirement. The position of town manager takes a special skill set. Expecting to find someone with these skills in 9 square miles is unrealistic. When this part of the charter was written in the 1950s, we had no modern highways for a town manager to quickly get back to Plainville if there was an emergency. House phones didn't even exist, just party lines for the folks who know what I'm talking about. Cell phones didn't exist, neither did social media. All of today's modern methods of communication and transportation were yet to be invented. Slowly, over time, the residency requirements for the police chief, fire chief were eliminated. Even our assistant town manager does not need to live in Plainville. This causes an issue with developing talent within the town. If a town manager leaves and the assistant town manager doesn't live in Plainville, that individual cannot apply for the position despite being uniquely qualified. Some may argue the town manager should live in town because he proposes our budget. However, we don't impose the same requirement on our superintendent.
The town council and board of ed are the ones tasked with the final proposals, and they rightfully do have a residency requirement. During our last town manager search, we did not receive any quality candidates until we opened up the radius of our search. To buy this qualified town manager out of his contract, AKA fire him, and then expect to find someone in our 9 square miles is also not realistic. I would love to see an emphasis on the quality of a candidate rather than an outdated requirement from 70 years ago.
Thank you. Ms. Loria, you're up.
Roberta Loria, 18 Perrin Road. Something was brought up by one of our first speakers, and I don't think she's here right now. She was on Weatherstone.
That's Wendy.
Wendy.
Yes.
Hi. Wendy. She had commented, rightfully so, that we need to look at things before this situation and go further back, because things have happened that have impacted people in this town that probably could have been avoided. So let's think about that. This really should not have had to have happened. We shouldn't have had to come to this point. If folks on the town council were listening previously when things were brought to their attention about things that are going on in our town. Things that Kaylee in Georgia had brought up things that she wanted to talk about with questions, and they're being submitted. I would strongly encourage them and you that everything be recorded, meaning we have a camera on. Under no circumstances should this be a discussion without recordings. As was noted here this evening, there's too much vagueness in our minutes, and even our town attorney admitted there was difficulties when he was following things. This has been a big problem for a very long time. Under new business, you probably should also consider requiring all commissions and committees to be recorded to prevent this from happening. So nobody's second guessing, what did he say, what did she say, what's really going on. This may have been able to be avoided had we had these commissions and committees truly been recorded, because if you look at these minutes, they're just way too vague. And you need to call out the individuals who do these minutes. There's individuals, for example, on the Board of Education. Joan Calistral, sadly she's retiring in November, who does exceptional minutes. It's like you're sitting in the meeting. This needs to really change. So I strongly encourage, while you want to hand in those questions, do not do it or have a discussion unless it's being recorded. Because this is information that everyone in the community really needs to know about. And it shouldn't be behind closed doors. Also, I have one quick question, and that is under old business. In the past, you have talked about the trail that's been tabled for several months. I know that on 9/25, there was a presentation regarding the Beeline Trail. However, it was brought up the beginning of the year where the DOT mentioned that they wanted to have that presentation regarding that area on that particular day. So for transparency, can you please give some clarity as to why this is no longer on there, and is there going to be something new, or how's it being replaced, please?
We're looking for the phase 3. Are you talking about, of the bike trail?
That's what's been on the old business
that's
for
what
quite
you're
some time.
referring
Right.
to.
Mhm.
It looks like later in November, and I don't think we finalized the date. DOT is coming out to have a public information session, but I believe it's in the latter half of November.
November 20th.
November 20th.
Okay. And as I said, I think under new business, you need to make a motion that all our committees and commissions are to be recorded where we can go back to them.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council this evening? All right, seeing no one, thank you everyone for your comments. We do have quite a bit of follow-up to do, and I have my list, and I'm sure between all of us we'll be able to go ahead and answer all the questions we heard tonight. But thank you for your participation. For those, feel free to leave. I know this is probably very exciting for everyone if you want to see how the rest of the meeting goes, but if you do need to leave, we understand. All right, we have no old business, and we can move now to item 11, new business.
Whenever you're ready.
We'll just, we'll take like 30 seconds here to let people walk out.
I was going to start talking and make a motion.
Go ahead, make it loud.
Ignore them. Yeah.
Make it loud.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilwoman Tompkins.
Motion to award RFQP number 26-11 commissioning agent services for the Middle School of Plainville renovation project to BVH Integrated Services, Inc., a Salis O'Brien Company, Bloomfield, Connecticut, in the amount of $136,320.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Hurley.
motion to award bid number 2026-15 water pollution control facility boiler replacement to Perfect Temp Incorporated, Plainville, Connecticut, in the amount of $373,619.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 3.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Underwood.
motion to adopt a resolution entitled Resolution Regarding Amendment to the Plan of Conservation and Development.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just want
Yes.
to make it clear, like, what the motion is for. It's actually bringing back the POCD to review it and send it back to P&Z for a possible review.
The motion is clear.
Okay.
Councilwoman Tompkins, the purpose of the resolution is
Amendment.
to have us file either an application or a request. It's going to be put on the manager and the town attorney to determine the proper method to go back to P&Z to get them to either reconsider the amendment that was made or to change it back.
Okay.
Whatever the proper method would be.
Okay.
That's what the resolution is.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yep.
be clear for everyone, so thank you.
Yep.
Okay, that's
All right. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
There was a lot more information provided tonight. The resolution, is fairly lengthy and has a lot of information in it. And, given that we've gotten more information, is there any chance, and I don't know if it's appropriate now from a parliamentary procedure, to possibly go to tabling it until the next meeting? So we've all had another chance to look at it in light of what we've heard about and thought about tonight?
That'd be up to the council.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm not ready to vote yes on this. To me, it's not strong enough language to force P&Z to reconsider. My vote would have been no had I had the correct information in front of me the first time. This doesn't do it for me. This isn't enough of it. This isn't strong enough language. It leaves it too vague for P&Z to be able to do what they want. And our recommendation never would have gotten to them had we had the correct information to begin with.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want me to withdraw and table?
Well, I think, before I entertain a motion to table, I think the important thing is, why don't we, between the town manager and town attorney, if you have specific information or specific comments you want, is to give that feedback, so we can come up with something that's maybe a little bit more pointed or a little more direct in your view, but, I would ask with your approval that that's something that, that you're okay with, if you get some feedback, specific feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just say that I'm more than happy to go back and to consider the comments. I would just remind the council that you are not voting on whether or not you're going to approve this or not. The whole issue was, what recommendation would you have made to planning and zoning? Ultimately, it will be their decision. You cannot force them. We can file an application, we can file a request, we're going to determine that, and we're going to go back, and I'm more than happy to go about and to do that. I mean, I'm somewhat circumspect with regard to the public comments that I'm going to make, because I am aware of us having to go before planning and zoning again. And so I understand, and what I've proposed is that decision be changed. And the question is, how do we get there? And that's what we're trying to do. But that is what the purpose of this is, so that there's a proper discussion and debate and vote. And if planning and zoning were to decide after proper notice, debate, and vote that they don't want to change it, that's their decision. And then we could consider whatever it is we want to consider. The public can also. But and I'm happy to sharpen this resolution with what we've heard tonight. I'm more than happy to do that, working with the manager and listening to the comments.
And would we be similar to what happened back in December when, we were allowed to give our recommendation, so to speak? With this resolution, if anyone had any specific comments, they are allowed to.
The point of the resolution was to let planning and zoning know that if the council had that particular question properly presented, which was amend the map and change the notations, that the council would have indicated that they did not agree with that they were against that. That is the whole point of the resolution.
Okay.
And then, the whole point is then if planning and zoning knew that, what would they have done? What would the decision have been? They should know that.
Right.
That was
And that's
the point.
the reason for asking.
That's what the notice, et cetera. That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so I guess, if everyone's okay with that, if you have any specific things you'd like to see in the resolution that aren't there now, work through the town attorney and town manager. And then we'll handle this on the October 20th meeting.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to withdraw the motion, Counselor Tompkins, to procedurally, if you want to do that, so just so.
Okay.
We can't just make a motion to table, even though the motion.
There's one on
No.
it's on the table.
No, right, right. I'm withdrawing the motion.
Okay. And withdraw
And then
the
we need a
second.
second on that, and that was Dave that seconded it,
Just
right?
say second.
I withdraw my second.
All right.
All right.
Okay, thank
You
you.
want to make the motion to table?
Okay, I make a motion that we table vote on this resolution until the October 20th meeting.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this will be tabled until the October 20th meeting. All right, and now we're up to item 4.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Getman.
Motion to establish a public hearing on Monday, October 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the Municipal Center to hear public comment regarding proposed amendments to Ordinance Chapter 38, Fire Department.
Second.
Excuse me, a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5.
Mr. Chair,
Councilwoman Tompkins.
motion to approve the tax refunds is listed on the addendum.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let me get back to that concludes new business. We do have a couple items under other discussions of interest. First is 359 New Britain Ave.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we need more discussion on number 2. I think you handled that in the open, unless there was more comment. But New Britain Avenue was just an opportunity to talk about the property development there. The site preparation is going to be ongoing in terms of blasting as we put out. And it was just another opportunity to inform the public and, again, inform the council 1 to 2 times a week, weather dependent, also their schedule, I think. So in the next one, maybe later this week on Wednesday or Thursday. And we'll just keep you posted. I will try to make as many of the blasts as I can. I was there for the initial one and got enough pictures and video, so I'm happy to share with the council. But it's more informational than anything.
Go ahead.
I've heard from quite a few residents about mitigating the dust. Is it possible to ask the contractor to wet down the area a little bit to?
Yeah.
At the very least, I don't see any other way to do it except make it wet.
Yeah.
That's how you
Go on.
do it.
Yeah.
That should be, the trucks should have already been there.
Yeah.
They knew they were blasting. I sat outside Dora and I had to go inside. Not during the blasting, but even during just their construction, I had to go inside.
So it's not just during blasting, it's,
It's all the time.
okay,
You go and sit outside Dora,
yeah. Not just during blasting.
when
If
they're
they could
actually
do something.
working.
Yeah.
Right,
If they could do a better job of dust mitigation.
yeah.
All right, any other comments or questions? All right.
No.
Just
Sorry.
on the mailing of the explanatory text, as everyone heard tonight, the town will be sending out some explanatory text regarding the referendum question regarding the residency requirement of the town manager, so you will get that in the mail. I don't think we need to say anything more than that. I mean, does anyone, we're into hour 4 of our meeting, do we want to
No, I'm good.
continue? I mean, I'm willing to stay. Is there anything else, any other discussions of interest?
No.
Nothing, town manager, nothing, everybody's good? We have no post-meeting executive session. I guess we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, everyone. We're adjourned. We'll be back Monday, October 20th for our next regular scheduled meeting.